Hey, I'm Olivia,
And hey, I'm Dad.
and you're listening to Soarin' Around WDW. Happy Wednesday, flight crew, and this Wednesday is extra special because today is our 100th podcast episode. Can you believe that, Dad?
I can't. And I told that to my wife. She was like, "What? You've been doing that for a long time, haven't you?" I said, "Yeah, we've been doing this for, I don't know, what, a year and a half, probably, I would think.
Yeah,
Almost two
yep.
years."
Yeah, it's been almost 2 years since the podcast started, and we'll kind of get into the history a little bit in a minute. But yeah, you've been recording with me for like a year and a half, which is a long time. So many episodes
Yeah.
under our belt. I know that everyone listening is anxiously awaiting our Paris trip review episodes, and don't worry, those are coming, but we couldn't skip over this milestone occasion without doing something a little extra special. And this episode will be just a little bit shorter because we're squeezing it in between a lot of other content. And of course, we couldn't have this milestone without a giveaway, so stay tuned for more information on that as well. We have had quite a few new followers and listeners over the last year, so I wanted to start off by kind of giving you guys a background of how this podcast got started. So, back in 2024, my brother Regan was living in North Carolina for a bit and had suggested that he and I start a podcast and just kind of record our conversations that we usually have about Disney. Of course, I jumped right on board and created the Instagram. We hit 1,000 followers pretty quickly. And then Regan's wife got pregnant and he kind of had to step away. But Dad and I were kind of talking. And what do you remember about kind of the conversations about you leading up into coming into the podcast, Dad?
Well, at first I thought it was very cool that the two of you were doing a podcast about Disney since I kind of dragged you to Disney when you were young and kind of, got you a little interested in Disney when you were just little kids. But yeah, and then I heard you're going to do a podcast, and some of it was tied around some of your challenge runs that you were doing at Disney. I think some of it kind of maybe kind of merged from that, just explaining about how your challenge runs would go and
Yeah.
reflecting on that a little bit. But it's just to have both you, my kids, doing something like that together uh, is pretty cool because a lot of siblings, they get older, they kind of grow apart, and you guys haven't, and that's from a father's standpoint, that's was pretty cool that you're doing something that kind of kept you connected, even though I know even though Regan's not doing it anymore because of having the little one at the house, this little baby. I know you guys still talk all the time about Disney and everything. So yeah, I just
Yeah.
thought when I heard that he was kind of jumping out, I just asked my wife, I said, what do you think about it? Should I just, check with Olivia and see if she might want to just do it with me? Uh, if she wants to keep it going, because I kind of felt bad that, of course you could probably run it easily by yourself, but it's kind of fun to, bounce it off someone else that's been around the block a few times at Disney, like I have. Yeah, that's why I kind of asked you about it and you were up for it, and here we are. So
Yeah, exactly. I was so thrilled when you offered to step in because there's obviously no one better to step in here because, like you said, you're the reason that we got into this Disney addiction, Disney obsession, because you're kind of the root of why we love Disney so much. And so here we are over 100 episodes later. It's been such an adventure, and I was so grateful that you had reached out and wanted to do it. And I was like, okay, hopefully he'll want to do it for a while. And it has been a very long while. So we've still been going for a long time, which is so fun. And like you said, yeah, it's not that fun to do a podcast by yourself. You can do it. I've done solo episodes, but it's much more fun when we're on here together, getting to relive a lot of great memories from childhood, getting to hear about your childhood memories at Disneyland and at Disney World, and obviously talking about the memories now that we have with grandkids and everything together. That's been so much fun. So definitely grateful that you were a willing and ready participant to come join me here on the mic. So after we launched the podcast a little while later, so the beginning of this year, I decided why not launch a Patreon. And so in January of this year, we decided to go ahead and add in Patreon kind of as some bonus content for our fans, our flight crew, as we call you guys. And that's been such a great way to kind of support the show. And we created a free membership, and those members get access to all of the bonus episodes and some home video footage. But then the paid members also get some fun things too, like a gift when you join, an annual gift, and a weekly exclusive video update that I do every week. So we really appreciate everyone who has both joined either as a free member or a paid member. It has been a really fun way to do some bonus content. And if you've been a listener for a while and you've always kind of wondered what that's about, please head over to the show notes or our Instagram bio, our link tree, and kind of find the information there. But there is that free tier, and you still get a lot of really cool access to things. And then the paid membership is obviously just a great way to show a bit of support for the show. So thank you so much to everybody who has done that. And then, of course, I didn't think that was enough. So I decided to move over into YouTube because I wasn't busy enough with these other things, and have been putting out vlogs from pack and prep content to Disney trip vlog footage and hotel reviews. So new videos have been going up every Friday over there for the last few months. And that has been really fun too, especially for the kids to get to kind of watch back all of our memories of the trips. And kind of like I loved home videos so much as a kid, this is like a edited version of home videos, like modernized version. And hopefully will kind of help inspire others who are planning for trips, packing for trips, going on Disney trips, or are in between trips and just want a little bit of that Disney magic too. So, just some visual things in addition to what we're doing here with the podcast. So, before we get into a little bit more for this episode, Dad, I wanted to kind of hear what are some of your favorite moments from recording the podcast over the last year and a half?
Well, it didn't take me long to really figure out probably the favorite memory is just doing it with you, you know. Uh
Yeah.
to be able to do something with, for a father to do something with his daughter or son when they're an adult and have their own kids and everything. We do this on a weekly basis. You put a lot of effort into it, of course. I'm just kind of along for the ride.
No,
I
give
I
yourself some
really,
credit.
that's what yeah, but that means the most. That's the best memory is just getting together and doing this. But beyond that, as far as maybe some episodes where I can add some things about my memories, yeah, from when I was young, but maybe memories from when I was younger and I was, you kids were young. I'm saying, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, whatever, elementary school age when we went to Disney, all the time. Those episodes that we talk about that and kind of relive some of those memories are probably some of my favorite moments from this podcast because it's fun to kind of think back. And I do take quite a few notes after, you put the script together and we talk about things ahead of time. Those are the two things that doing this with you. And of course, and if your brother was here and Regan was here, it would be super great too, right? For the three of us to be able to try to do something like this would have been kind of fun too. But obviously that's not happening right now, but maybe someday that will.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, I like the episodes and I like the memories of just remembering all the things that we did when we were young with you kids when you were young and when I was, you know, uh 10, 13, 18 years old when we went to Disneyland and Disney World way back in the day. So that's been very enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree for sure. And I think, like you said, as things get busy and you become an adult and you're living your own life, it's really hard to find, especially weekly time to get to kind of sit down and do this. And we obviously record, but then we usually get to catch up a little bit after we're recording. And it's just dedicated time that we can kind of
Sure.
commit to catching up, which is great too. And some of my favorite moments have definitely been guests that have been on with us and getting to have lots of different people over the last 100 episodes. So, wanted to specifically shout out some guests that have come on. And our very first guest was actually you, I think, Dad, back in the day before you were on as a co host. We had you on to kind of talk through your Disney history, which was so fun and one of our most popular episodes ever, which is really fun to listen to. It's actually, I'm looking back right now, episode 9, way back in the beginning when we had no idea what we were doing with this podcast, but that was a really fun one. And then my cousin Latoya has been on a couple of times. And so that has been fun to listen to her memories. She went to the parks with us a lot. She had annual passes as she was older. She's been to Disneyland Paris now with us, but on her honeymoon as well. And so different things like that. And then also other creators that have been on. So A couple that I wanted to make sure we shouted out for the podcast was that guy Ryan. Ryan was on with me talking about every ride challenges and his runs and kind of his love for the parks. My travel advisor who specializes in Disney, Katie, was on first when Epic Universe opened and she got to go for a preview. And then our Idiot's Guide friends, Steven and Marissa, were on with us. Steven has been very gracious to be on a bonus episode and a solo episode with me as well. And so we just really appreciate everybody that's been on. And of course, our most recent guest was Doreen, your wife, who came on for a really fun episode talking about Flower and Garden and getting to kind of just discuss some really fun Disney memories that we have with her. And Mom has been on as well. So it's just been really fun to have everybody on here that's taken time. So we really appreciate everyone who has come on as a guest with us. It's been a great way to kind of loop worlds together. And that's been one of my favorite things is just getting to hear everybody else's Disney history and how they fell in love with Disney and was it in childhood, was it in adulthood, kind of where did it start? So that's been really fun. Of course, podcasting is a ton of work. If you are not a podcaster and you're only a listener, you've never done any kind of content creation, you're just kind of here to enjoy the magic. It is a lot. And so I wanted to give a little bit of insight that, as so many people know, most of what you see on Instagram or in these episodes is the highlight reel. There's a lot of struggles and moments where I've asked myself, is this even worth doing this? Does anyone care? Especially early on. Some of that is obviously self-inflicted, but I'm sure every creator can relate to this feeling. We have had our share of technical difficulties out the wazoo in the past episodes where we've had to stop or the Zoom ends, right, Dad? Like, I mean, I can think of so many times where
Oh yeah.
yeah, we've just had to kind of totally.
Or the dog is trying to lick the screen or something, or all kinds of weird stuff.
Oh yeah, we have lots of dog interruptions and kid interruptions. There's many episodes that I have to cut out me talking to the kids on the monitor or going up to wipe Blake's butt or whatever in the middle of the episode. So definitely lots of struggles there. And times where I kind of have struggled to come up with content that I work for hours on that bombs, content that I work not that long on that takes off. And we've had a lot of encouragement this last year after our Spotify Wrapped stats dropped. We were very blown away by the kindness sent by many of you all after our thankful episode, where we shared those stats and kind of called out some of our other favorite shows and creators and just had very great feedback after that. And I think that was a really awesome boost. And then again this year, when we worked with the Idiot's Guide crew as guests on our Epcot Parks of the Future World Showcase episode, we had a huge boom in followers, traffic to our pages, listeners, and it was amazing and such a dopamine hit. They are such a great group to work with, and they've got a really awesome show. And so the response to that episode was great, and that also really helped kind of keep motivate and keep going. We worked really hard on that concept. So it was great to see that people appreciated it. I'm not going to lie, I thought that that post blew up because so many people thought my poor Canvas editing skills were good enough and kind of believed we were getting this new Grease pavilion. And some, I think, did kind of think that and were like, oh, a new pavilion. But that was not my intention. So many people, though, loved the idea just of creating new concepts and dreaming up new ideas for the parks themselves and sent me, hey, I've had this idea for this, or I've had this idea for that. And so that was exactly the point, was just kind of to get people to dream a little more and think a little more about what they're doing and why they love the parks and what they'd love to see in the parks. And so that's what is so fun about like Disney content creation, Disney inspired, I should say, content creation, because it's just for people who love the parks like us. And so there's so many of you out there that are listening solely because you have great memories in the parks or you didn't get to go as a kid, but you wish you did. And hearing these stories can kind of bring inspiration for what you want to do with your family. And so that's been really, really fun. On average, I did want to share, I usually do spend about 3 to 4 hours per episode working on the episode, whether that's coming up with the content, writing the script, talking with dad about the idea, recording the episode, editing the episode. All of that takes a lot of work. So if you are thinking about starting a podcast, definitely give it a go. I mean, the sky is the limit, but just know it is a lot of time and effort into each episode every single week. And so it definitely takes a lot of time to put these things together. So we appreciate any kind of feedback that you guys give us. It's been really, really awesome. So I wanted to go through as well our most popular episodes and kind of where they're sitting in the ranks of things. And right now, our most popular episodes have been episode 89, our Parks of the Future World Showcase episode that I've talked about with Idiot's Guide, episode 86, which was actually Dad and I talking about our most recent Walt Disney World trip. Episode 87, which is where Maddie and I talked about the rest of that same Walt Disney World trip. And then episode 91 with Dad's wife Doreen, my stepmom Doreen, where we talked all about Flower and Garden Festival. That one was called Generations in Bloom. And episode 84, which was our pre-trip episode. And our treasured attractions episodes that we started this year are kind of right behind them. Those have been very popular as well. So it's been really cool to kind of see the growth that our show has had. And I really can't wait to see what our Spotify Wrapped results are this year because we have continued on that upward trend of growth, and that's been really fun. So, where do we go from here? Where are we going to plan to go for our next 100 episodes? We do have plans to continue series that we've already started. So, of course, our Parks of the Future episodes where we plan different or dream up, I should say, different ideas and concepts for the parks. We do have some more nostalgic nights episodes coming up where I make my husband Maddie watch movies that he has not ever seen before. And then our treasured attraction series with some of our favorite attractions that we have not gotten to yet. There were two big ones that I was kind of holding off on until I went to Disneyland Paris. So I'll let you guys think about what those might be. But with some cool ideas kind of thrown down in the middle, along with, of course, our trip content. And I still do have two more Disney World trips on the books for the upcoming months. One for the Every Ride Run with Regan in September, and one with the kids for Mickey's Not So Scary in October, as well as our Disney cruise in March of 2027. So lots of really fun things coming up. But what I kind of am looking for as far as growth in these next 100 episodes is I would love to see, obviously, an increase in followers, subscribers, all of that. But I'm going to put an ask out there for written reviews for Apple Podcasts and Spotify podcast reviews. We would be absolutely thrilled if you would do a written review on Apple Podcasts, but every review, whether it's written or not, just a 5-star review makes a huge difference in growth for the show. And I'm hoping by the time we hit our next 100 episodes, we're up to 50. And that might be a lofty goal, but I'm going to dream big here. And of course, an increase in Patreon members would be great, even if you're just joining as a free member. And on YouTube, I really want to be at that 500 subscriber mark before our next 100 episodes. But Dad, is there anything you particularly want to see with the show or talk about with the show in the next 100 episodes?
Well, it's always exciting to see the growth in subscribers, whether they're Patreon or just subscribing. That's important for, any channel. So it's been fun to watch that grow and hopefully that'll continue. That's something I'm excited about. And something else I thought would be fun. One of these times, I want to do a nostalgic nights movie review with you because there's a lot of movies
Ah,
that, let's face it, there's a lot of movies, the kids' movies, I haven't seen. And typically, maybe on Disney Plus, and I'll ask my wife, hey, why don't we watch this or watch that? And it's kind of let's face it, they're kind of kids' movies, right?
yeah.
But and she said, well, we don't have any kids here. We have to get, and of course, our other granddaughter, Michaela, she's going to be a senior in high school now. So she's not probably going to be
Yeah.
driving over the car anytime soon and watching Moana with us or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of these movies I haven't seen. I mean, people would be shocked. I just haven't. There's probably in the last 10, 15 years, I haven't seen a lot of the animated, really good Disney movies because it just hasn't been, we just didn't have kids around. So the Nostalgic Nights movie review idea would be great. And just to tell everybody that we did go see Toy Story 5 on Father's Day.
You did. Okay,
Doreen,
we did too.
Doreen and I went on Father's Day. She asked what did I would like to do. I said my kids aren't here. They're in France, flying back very soon.
Yeah.
Let's go to Toy Story 5. And she, oh, we don't have any kids here. And well, we don't, but we're going to go because that's what I want to do for Father's Day. We went, and
Okay.
it was amazing how many other older couples were just there without kids because the franchise has been so beloved. Let's face it, it's one of my favorite franchises, especially Toy
Yeah.
Story 2, really. So I'm not trying to get off on a tangent. I guess I am a little bit, but that's okay. But we really love the movie. So if you haven't seen Toy Story 5, if you're any sort of a fan, go see it. I think it's probably as good as two, maybe even better. I think it's their
Okay.
best effort yet. Best effort yet.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna do a bonus Patreon episode on Toy Story 5 because we saw it when we were in France, which is a whole story in and
Oh,
of
wow.
itself.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, kind of on a whim on our very last day in France. And so I definitely want to discuss like, yeah, your thoughts and see what you think because it was definitely an interesting experience just seeing it over there. And we did see it in English with French subtitles, but yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So we'll do a bonus episode on Patreon about it because I want to hear all about what you think. And so
Awesome.
that would be good. Okay,
Okay.
cool. So yeah, that's awesome. And there are some good movies. Yeah, like I know you haven't seen Zootopia, right, Dad? Okay,
Seen
good.
anything in the past probably at least 10 years because when Akala was small we would catch those things, but anything in the last probably 10 years I haven't seen. I wanted to see, maybe check them out, but I just haven't. So yeah, that would be, you could pick almost anything and I probably haven't seen it.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna make that happen for some episodes. That would be really good. Cool. That's so fun. So we did get a few listener questions from some of our favorite people to answer on the podcast. And our first question was from Nick from the show Mickey and Minutes. He is another podcaster who has been a great friend throughout this process and oftentimes is supporting our show through listening, commenting, liking, all those things. And he asked, what is our favorite episode that we have ever done? So, Dad, do you have a favorite that we have recorded out of the 100? There's so many.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's so many episodes where for the longest time, 20 years ago, I really knew a lot about Walt Disney World, the makeup, how things ran. I had books and I studied it and then online looking at things. I just really loved it. I just really embraced the whole Disney World thing. But now that we're recording this podcast now, I look back and I go, well, some of my favorite episodes, or one of my favorite episodes, was the one where I was the guest on it. And I say that because I got a chance to be with, you and Regan, my two kids, and you're asking me all these questions, and some of these things you didn't know. We probably talked about it here and there over the years, but I was found I got a little more interested in my parents as I had kids and I got a little older. They started asking questions. Hey, Dad, how was it like with there or this trip or whatever? And you start learning all these things that you kind of forgot about or you just never knew. So that was fun to share. My experience of going out to California, living in Michigan, this long road trip out to California, and then visiting Disneyland for the first time, Disney World in '73, and Disney World again in 1978, my senior year in high school. So just to hear, where it was then to where it is now, it's night and day. It's grown so much, and it's changed so much for the good. I must admit. So yeah, I'd say that was probably my favorite episode, only because I could share it. My both of you, all three of us, were on the podcast together, so that was a special podcast. No, special podcast for me.
Yeah, that one was super fun. And that was, like I said, so early on, but so fun. And we did learn a lot, just kind of things that we had heard partial stories of, but hearing the whole thing was really cool. It is really hard for me to pick one episode in particular because we've had so many good ones. But I know some of my favorite episodes that we have done have been our like parks of the past and present, where we kind of go through everything that existed in the parks. And in particular, my favorite park, Hollywood Studios, going through once you started, this was like right when you started on the podcast, we were doing parks of the present for Hollywood Studios, I think. I'm trying to look back and find the episodes. Yeah, it was Magic Kingdom was like one of the first episodes we did together, and there were multiple Parks of the Present Magic Kingdom, I think like 6 episodes. And then we moved over into Hollywood Studios and Epcot and just getting to talk about all these things that are there and kind of our memories of what they were when they first existed, but also all the things that are gone and how much we loved them, or if we never experienced them, would we want to experience them? Do we wish that they were still there? So those are so fun. I'm obviously a big nostalgia person. And so I just love to go back and talk about all the things that used to be. And like you said, when we were going a lot in the late 90s, early 2000s, all the time. And just the parks were so special then. It was just such a great memory of childhood. So talking about all that, those are probably some of my favorite episodes. And again, the guest star episodes, just everybody who's come on has been so fun too. But yeah, I would have to say Parks of the Past and Parks of the Present of Hollywood Studios in particular, just talking about all those old shows that don't exist anymore, but that we loved so much is so fun. So that would be my answer for that one. And then Katrina from Magical Travel with Katrina, she wants to know, Dads, this is for you in particular. Would you ever do a parkeology challenge with Regan and I?
I've thought about that. I Every time you guys do it, I always think, man, I'd like to be on that challenge with them. And, it happens every time. Like, oh, that would be so cool to do. And being an old marathon runner, being an old, long distance cyclist, and that's kind of my ilk, doing those things that are kind of marathon-y in when it comes to sports types things. This is kind of a marathon-y thing
Yeah.
for for park fanatics, right? For Disney park fanatics, I just love it. And now, it's hard. I know it's hard. I see what you guys go through. People say, "Oh, what's the big deal? You're just going on rides." It's so much more than that. And without getting too long with this, I would back in the back of my mind, I would like to join you for one of those. I'd probably have to do some more training for it.
Yeah.
I'd have to do some running and probably some heavy cycling or something just to really be prepared for it. Because I know it's a lot of physical, but it's a lot of mental too. The weather gets weird and rides shut down, and you go from being frustrated to happy to, oh, now it's raining, and our clothes are wet, and I've seen all the videos and all the times, and you guys have talked to me about that a lot. So yes, I would at some point. I don't want to wait too long because I'm not getting any younger. That would be fun to do with both of you. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, that would be so fun. The ultimate for me would be able to do it with you at Disneyland. And I do think Disneyland is a little bit easier because you don't have to run to the parking lot so much. Because that's where like Disney World kills me is the runs from the park to the parking lot, driving, all these things. So it was still very difficult at Disneyland, obviously, as you guys saw, but it was a lot less hard on my body than Disney World was. So that is something that
Sure.
we'd love for you to be able
Yes.
to join us for either. But for me, it'd be so cool to get to do it at Disneyland. If we make it out there with you, that would be like awesome. Okay, and then Emily from Make It Magical podcast asked, what has been the most rewarding part of doing the podcast?
Well, beyond all the analytics, all the numbers and all the things that you've shared with me, and it's enjoyable learning so much more about Walt Disney World, things that I maybe kind of heard at one point or read about or just didn't flat out know. And there's a lot of things like, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's great. But I think just doing the podcast with you, Olivia, has been the most rewarding part. I know that sounds sugary sweet, but it's true.
Yeah.
You know, Just-
Yeah, that's perfect.
so that's just brutal honesty. To be able to yeah, to do that with you. Has been fun, and I look forward to doing it we do this every Wednesday evening, and I look forward to that. I look forward to getting your script and walking through it, and we talk about it, and we kick ideas around, and you've been kind enough to grab some of my crazy ideas, and it's fun.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Getting to do it
we've had a good time.
Yeah, getting to do it together has been so special. So that's definitely up there too for me. And right behind that is just the connections that I've gotten to make with all these people that are sending in these questions and that listen and truly consider them friends. And I'm excited to hopefully get to connect with some of them in person over these next couple of months. We have some plans in place to get to meet some of these people. So that would be super, super fun. But Emily also wrote us the sweetest note, just kind of saying how proud she is of us and that she loves the show. She's literally the sweetest. So thank you, Emily, for taking time to write that. That is so fun. And looking forward to hopefully getting to connect in person here this year. That would be so awesome too. So now, as we move into the next 100 episodes, I want to emphasize our gratitude just for each and every single one of you listening right now. You are our motivation to keep going, and each comment, like, follow really does make our day. But for those of you who have been personally messaging, just like Emily did, saying, hey, I really loved XYZ episode, or hey, I was listening to your episode and tell me more about this thing, it really does make me smile and kind of reminds us that, yeah, people actually do listen. And so, in the words of Queen Clarice Rinaldi, thank you for being here today. But also, every week, we really could not do it without you guys. So, big appreciation for each one of you who are listening right now. That is huge. Of course, I did say that there would be a giveaway at the top of the episode. And so we wanted to highlight some of the amazing companies that we rep for. TNT Shirts and Apparel is one. They have been so awesome. They made our merch shirts that we have worn to the parks together, the hat that I've worn. They did some shirts for dad for a personal reason for a trip that he has coming up with his friends. And they just got some really awesome Disney merch. I have so much of it at the house. So they have been so awesome, as well as 1953 Designs. Mallory over there, she is great. And so I will link both in the show notes. You can always use our code SOARIN15, which is SOARIN15 for 15% off at both stores. And we were also so kindly gifted some shirts and sweatshirts from One Step Beyond Apparel. And so I will be utilizing some of those in the giveaway. And we will be gifting one lucky winner a $25 Disney gift card, a shirt of your choice from TNT Shirts and Apparel, a show sticker, and some other fun small shop stickers. And then the second winner will get a shirt from the One Step Beyond Apparel gifting group, a 1953 Designs knot band or bag charm of your choice, and some fun small shop stickers, and of course, show stickers as well. So, in order to be entered into this giveaway, you have to be following us on Instagram at Soarin Around WDW Pod. You need to repost or share the 100 episode giveaway post that went up today with this episode and comment your biggest Disney hot take on the post. We will be using these as our new closing segment moving forward once we hit our 2-year anniversary, which is the first week of August. So that will replace our Would You Rather segment for the next year of episodes. We try to kind of switch up this ending segment each year. So this was my idea for the coming year. If you want bonus entries for this giveaway, you can join our Patreon. Free members will get a bonus entry on top of their entry from doing the things I just listed. And if you want to join as a paid member, each tier will get an additional entry depending on which tier you join. So the first level tier would get 2 entries, the next one 3, the next one 4, and so on and so forth. So if you are already a member on Patreon, you will get that bonus entry once you complete the first steps. And then the other way to get bonus entries is to leave us that written review on Apple Podcasts. So screenshot it to me, send it to me as a DM so I know who it's from, and you'll be given that extra bonus entry there. The entries will close on July 15th at midnight Eastern Standard Time, and we will choose a winner later that week on an Instagram Live. I have to kind of see what my schedule is to see which day for that. But yeah, so make sure that you're following us, repost or share the episode, and then comment your biggest Disney hot take on that Instagram post. And Disney hot take can be something as simple as, I think turkey legs are disgusting, and that's your hot take. Or I'm glad the Muppets replaced Rock and Roller Coaster Aerosmith. That could be your hot take. So, whatever your hot take is, and then we'll kind of discuss if we agree with you or disagree with you on the podcast. And if you prefer to remain anonymous, that's fine too. Just send me a DM with your hot take. But it'll all be in good fun, nothing crazy. So that is all for now. We will catch you guys on next week's flight. And thanks again for being here.
See you next week.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to give us a follow on Instagram at Soarin Around WDW Pod, where we share fun reels, throwback photos, and dive into weekly polls and debates. If you're listening on Spotify, be sure to follow and hit that 5-star button. If you are over on YouTube, subscribe and leave us a comment as well. If you're listening on Apple, a 5-star rating and a written review would mean the world. You can also now support the show through our Patreon at patreon.com/SoarinAroundWDW podcast by becoming a free or paid member and finding exclusive content and bonus episodes and videos there too. Thanks again for joining us. Catch you on the next flight.